Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Alicia Brashay here at Cosmic Gateway, and I'm very excited to invite a very special guest here with me. I have Genine Hill. So, she is an evolutionary astrologist. She's also a holistic practitioner. She's worked in many, many therapies over the last 20 years, helping empower people and guide people through whatever challenges, whatever they need. I have felt very privileged to connect with her based around astrology, and I like to pick her brain often when things come up. And I almost feel like this video has been like almost 2 years in the making, if I'm completely honest. We've been talking about this for quite a long time, and the divine timing just kind of opened up. And just want to thank you for being here. So welcome, Genine.
Oh, thanks, Alicia. So lovely to be here. I'm so happy to be here. And you're right, it is been a kind of a 2 year in the making video, hasn't it? Hi everyone. It's lovely to be here and chat with Alicia.
Yeah, so we connected, I think, during COVID times or just sort of around, time, time around then. And we got talking. And obviously, when I come across astrologers, I get very excited. It lights something up within me because I've never formally studied astrology. I have a grasp of intuitive things that kind of line up astrologically. So that's where it piques my curiosity because it's I guess it's something that it gives context around that's tangible that you can look at on charts and things like that. And it helps put words and terminology and understanding to energies. Um, and I've been very grateful to have had a couple of charts done by you around the time of my birthday. And I think the one that you did for me, the first one that you did for me, blew my socks off because I was in bed. I was incredibly sick. I was the sickest I'd ever been. And you intuitively were told to do my chart at that moment, not knowing. And you intuitively picked up on what I was going through. So I think that's why I really respect your work is not only are you working with, astrological charts and things like that, but you do have a great insight into marrying it with intuition. So thank you, Genine. And this conversation, we're going to be looking at some of the key astrological transits where we are now and probably moving all the way into the node change within mid-July. So this is something that I have had a keen eye on, and it's great to have you here to pick your brain. So thank you. I'll throw it over to you. And well, first of all, I guess my first question: what drew you to astrology? Like, what was the?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Love it. So I have been interested in astrology since I was about 5.
Okay.
And it's actually started, and how ironic that you say that, because it started when I saw my mum had on her necklace a bull. Now, my mum is a Taurus, and funny that you're talking about that because we're in the season of Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
And 19th of May, the new moon is going into Taurus, and we've got a plethora of planets transiting into Taurus. So I thought that's that's a little bit
What a great segue, huh?
here we go, it's on. So I remember asking my mum why she was wearing that, and she said to me that she explained that it was her sign, and I said, well, what's mine? And then I, for my birthday, received a Libra, and I'm a Libra necklace. And then the journey went on from there with me just reading astrology books. My parents were incredibly supportive in that they would buy me like a forecast book every year from a very young age. I know, how beautiful is that? Like, really just gorgeous. And then as the years progressed, I just was more and more interested in, astrology and psychology. And when I was meant to be, doing the year 12 chemistry assignments, I was in the library looking at astro books and psychology. So there was, which all kind of, it all interlinks in its own way. And then when I was 21, I was living in the UK, and I recall being in London at the time, and I had a wonderful astrologer, Ray Curry, do my chart, and I was reading the chart walking down the street, surprised I didn't actually get hit by a double decker because I was so engrossed in what I was reading. And for me, it was that moment where I recognized that this astrological language was putting words to feelings I'd always had and known, but I didn't know the words to use. So for me, it's been a love affair with astrology over the last probably 45 years. And you just are always learning and always growing, and there's always so much more to it. And I feel that it's such a great tool to be able to support yourself and other people. And it's not about, and this is something I really want to stress, it's not about, oh my God, Mercury's in retrograde, I'm doomed, because there's a lot of that can kind of go on. It's about understanding, if you so choose, what the language is. And what I'm really doing as an astrologer, evolutionary astrologer, and I'll explain what that is in a moment, I'm providing an interpretation and a decoding. It's like what you do, Alisha. You decode the energy and put it into practical terms so people understand. They know, but they've got a language, they've got a framework, like you were saying, a context to which they can draw on to choose how to move forward. And evolutionary astrology is a strain of astrology that really is fundamentally about choice. You are at choice. Yes, we as evolutionary astrologers believe in our philosophy that you come in with this sacred contract, and this sacred contract is set from your date of birth, the location you were born, and the time. And that is the blueprint to which you can catapult your life with, and you can utilize, and understand the different aspects of yourself. And there's no coincidence that every time I do a chart, for someone, and you've just sort of shared the same thing earlier about your experience, there is such a truth on a level that people will say, how do you know that about me? You got my birth details, and suddenly you've come back and you've said all this stuff, and I'm in tears. How the hell do you know this? I've done 10 years of therapy and my therapist didn't even figure that one out. How do you know? And it's like, it's because it's your sacred contract. Your life is precious. Your contract is precious. And your chart is here to help you. And the cycles and the planet transits are here to help us evolve and grow. It's so magnificent and beautiful.
That's so beautifully articulated. I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I see how our work is quite similar, even though it's a completely different modality. It's interpreting energies and potentials and opportunities and our blueprint, our soul blueprint. And are we gonna and it's so funny because the more I become keen on astrology and invested in learning and understanding it, what was I going to say, it's just gone completely out of informally. That's the word. I have got a lot of feedback, especially in the last 12 months, that when I've done sessions for people, they've come back and given me the feedback that I have said verbatim what an astrologer has said to them. And so there's obviously an aspect that I can read into that intuitively. I didn't know that, but I also think, and I wonder, is as you start to which I'm noticing more and more, as you start to connect with different practitioners and build bonds, you start to merge these abilities. I don't know if you
that is such a great point, because when we were having a chat before we started the recording, we were talking about the Taurus energy, which we'll go into, I'm sure, at some stage, because I know you and I could probably chat all day about energy and astrology and everything, because we both love it so much. but we were talking also about the chakra system, you know, the energetic system of the human framework, and that is tied in also with astrology and with obviously with the work you do. I mean, you know, I also do Australian bushflower essences, and I do astrology essences for clients. So you're tapping in on so many different levels, and it's like I guess it's like chicken or was it the chicken or the egg came first? And, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And you're drawn to different things at different times, because I know there's been times in my life where I haven't touched astrology, you know, and I've gone down other roads but those other roads, and I've always come back to the astrology, but those other roads have given me, like what you were saying, another tool or another jewel to put in your toolkit to be able to help people. And if you can, I think, articulate, well, it's no different to learning to sing, right? You've got your particular tone, and then you're having lessons and doing exercises to be able to, you know, sing songs through the entire scale, but you've definitely got your area that's your majority and what you major in. And I think it's the same for anything, isn't it, really? Like this sort of stuff that we're talking about too.
Absolutely. So shall we dive right in? I know, because
Let's go.
There's three sort of points that you want to share. So the first one, I think, is like happening kind of now, right? And I know when we got on, I was like, what is this intense squeeze energy? Like I went outside this morning and I was feeling all frazzled, and I'm sure that's something that's kicking up in the collective, and I'm sure that there's an astrological explanation. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, and I suspect that you are similar in that, you know, well, in fact, I know you are, that you will tap into the collective and you feel it in yourself. And because you are a Pisces, you are very in tune with the collective and the collective unconscious, because that's part of your gift. So I can understand that there'd be like, oh, you know, because I'm like you, and sometimes I can get a little bit unconscious, like all of us, and think that this is just me. But then when I'm doing my self-care things that I do in my rituals, to be clear, I'm like, okay, so this is the energy that's going through all of us, and how can I support, who do I need to be, how do I need to be, what do I need to do in order to be able to manage and support those energies. And, you know, I can relate. They're feeling pretty intense, because they are. But that doesn't mean it has to be scary. I know some people can get a little bit anxious about energies and astrology, and because everyone always wants everything to turn out okay. And of course, that's how we want to feel. We want to feel safe. Yeah. Right. And that's what I love about being able to decode the energies, Alisha, because it's about helping ourselves and others feel safe. Because when we're in that fight or flight, you know, we're not going to make the decisions from here, from the neocortex, we're going to make them from reptilian brain. So we need languages to decode and to be able to decode to support. So 19th of May, which is tomorrow, but we always feel that build up of the energy beforehand. Yeah. We've got a plethora of planets transiting into the sign of Taurus. And, you know, we are in the season of Taurus at this point in time, soon to be moving on from. And if we take a look at the Taurian energy, you know, to start with, so we've got a new moon in Taurus. Kicking in tomorrow. We've got the sun in Taurus, we've got Mercury in Taurus, we've got Jupiter in Taurus, we've got Uranus in Taurus, and we've got North nodes in Taurus. And I want everyone that's listening to this that doesn't know a great deal about astrology, please don't stress, because this isn't an astrology class, it's about energies, right? So what I really want to relay to you all is that we have very full earth energies at present, and those energies are here and designed to help us move into this next stage, because over the last few years, the energies, as many would probably agree, have been pretty intense and pretty heavy and hard going at times. I mean, we can just take a snapshot of the last 2 years. I don't need to go into a 10-minute explanation about that because we've all lived through that. But it's all about the preparation, and Taurus is the farmer of the zodiac, the builder. So Taurus is preparing us for the next steps that are coming, which are actually going to be really exciting. But Taurus is saying to us, now is the time to really, really get grounded. And, you know, some people say, well, what is grounding? I said to Alisha earlier, you know, for people that don't have a lot of earth in their astrology charts, they could be going like, what does that even mean? So let's unpack, what does that mean? Being grounded, feet on the earth, right? Feeling your connection to Mother Earth, getting into nature. You know, I live in rural New South Wales, so I'm around a lot of granite, and I'm around a lot of I'm in the country, so I get to ground every day. You know, I've got chickens, I've got my own fire, you know, I collect wood, I'm doing all of that sort of stuff. That's grounding me. I'm cooking nourishing meals that are supporting the system. Also being patient with yourself. And Taurus is that energy too that it you know, rules the neck and the throat and the tonsils. You could probably see I'm in my blue attire, everyone. So, you know, which taps into, you know, communicating and being true to yourself and true to what you want to create. And yes, there are things going on in the economy. We do have Taurus focusing very much on security and material possessions and, you know, the money scenarios. And the thing is, regardless of what goes on that level, if we have the rituals and the tools to ground ourselves, right? And it's like they'll say with meditation classes, you know, eye of the storm. So if you can, you know, cultivate, and that's the Taurus energy. It's saying to us, how you going cultivating your groundedness, your connection to earth, your connection to your center, because whatever else is going on out there, if you can ground and center, that's not going to have you in survival as much. So
do you have
sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you there because I'm excited. I get excited. And furthermore, I think the most important thing I can share about Taurus, and this is coming through because the energy is like lightning bolts as I'm saying this, and I feel quite emotional. Taurus is about value, and it's about worth, your value and your self-worth. And I will be the first person to put my hand up and say, I'm being tested on that level at this point in time. And I don't believe I'm alone on that one. So over to you, Alisha.
I was just going to say how well you've summarized a lot of what I've been feeling.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, like it just nailed things. And I think key themes that have been coming up probably since we hit Taurus season, I had to remind myself, you know, is this feeling of needing to feel safe and secure, and really like checking myself not going into that fight or flight, because that energy has been very, very present. It's all around abundance, wealth, material possessions, you know, trying to get all that into order. And yeah, this throat, I know because I did a transmission around this time last year, and sometimes I feel like I'm ahead of the curve by a year, and it was reclaiming your voice transmission, and it was, you know, all the blue colors. But I also want to acknowledge what I've seen a lot of people talk about recently is like a lot of throat lung releasing occurring at the moment. And I wanted to ask you, is that also part of it? I saw people writing, people having sort of chesty, lungy, throaty conditions, physical symptoms, and relating that to releasing a lot of collective grief. I don't know if that kind of...
Look, absolutely. I mean, look, we are in autumn, and our bodies do reflect, you know, seasonally where we're vulnerable, which is the lungs and the throat. So it's important that people really take care. We also have a collective mindset that as soon as autumn and winter kicks in, we get sick. Because I see that around, you know, that mindset around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But you know, but on another level too, that is the opportunity, because the lungs, and you know, the lungs link in with the large intestine, which is about that, letting that grief go. And you know, I'm jumping ahead here where we're going to talk about the nodes, and we will, but this is also this, you know, we've had a very watery, earthy, elemental time in the last couple of years, if we look at it from an astrology point of view, because, you know, to the viewers, those that don't follow astrology, every sign in the zodiac is attributed to a particular element, whether it be earth, air, fire, water. So a lot of the energies have been very earthy and watery, as I was saying, and with that, that's going to bring up. It's designed to bring the stuff up and out, to clear. Does that answer?
Yep.
How you feel in what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can we expect sort of moving beyond the 19th of May? Because I have a feeling this may not go up until the day after. How long are those energies going to be present for? And obviously you offered some really good advice or guidance around, you know, getting grounded, getting solid with, I think solid within yourself has been one of my catchphrases.
Yeah, I like that. Hashtag solid within yourself. That's cool. Yeah. Look, I think to relate, sorry, go. Yep.
No, I guess my question was like, how long is that? Because I know when there's a transit, it's not like, oh, boom, on the day and it's done. It's like we feel the build up and then we feel the sort of the exit stage left.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for everyone to be feeling comfortable with the information that's just been shared, just know that every planet in the world of astrology, astronomy, the universe, our solar system rather, it cycles at a particular time. So, you know, the sun, for example, sun signs are like 30 days, the moon transits like in a couple of days, you know, Mercury's a few weeks, you know. So don't stress that it's like, oh my God, this is going on for, no, it's not. What I also want to share, Alisha, that I think is very important is that we have transits happening. Like, I'll give you an example. Someone contacted me the other day and said, oh, it's going to be easier now because Jupiter's now in Taurus. And I, being the astrologer that I am, I say, I get what you're saying. However, people need to have an understanding of placements in their charts and the degrees to which planets and signs are operating in, to know how much a particular transit's going to impact you. Yeah. Because people, I notice, and I'm guilty of it myself too, that you can, oh my God, Mercury's in retrograde, and it can be like, well, if you're looking at your chart, yes, it can impact you, but if it's not really in a sign or a degree or an aspect, then it's not necessarily going to impact you as much as it will someone who's got it in a particular degree or aspect. So it is very individual, and I really encourage people to not necessarily make it so generic, because that can build the fear, right? And this is about eliminating the fear. Yeah. So these transits are called transit because they're transitory. So, but I did want to talk about the 1st of June, because that's that culmination. You know, you was talking about the culmination, this build up. Yeah. And then we've got this 1st of June, what we call a grand fixed cross. People, don't worry about the terminology. If you want to understand more about the terminology, you can always contact me. So a grand fixed cross simply means that there are 4 signs in 4 planets at degrees that are providing a lot of pressure. And this grand fixed cross is under the signs of Jupiter, Pluto, Leo, and the South Node. Don't worry too much about, it's in Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. What is really important for everyone to understand about this transit that's kicking in is that it is the opportunity to utilize these energies that are very, very solid, very stubborn, very lock in, create a lot of resistance, a lot of frustration, because I know we were talking earlier, I'm certainly feeling that frustration at the moment. I don't know about you, Alisha, what you're picking up on as this energy is kind of building. But it's an opportunity to have a big breakthrough. And how do we have the big breakthroughs? It's when we're up against the wall. It's when we're up against the wall. It's you go to the gym, you build the muscle. How do you build the muscle? With a weight that's heavy, and you're frustrated and you yell and scream, and well, maybe not, or you just and then you're building. So it's a building block for this energy to, I see it as a shifting out of this water fixed earthy energy as we're moving over the next couple of years more into fire and air. But we got to be grounded. We've got to be grounded, because the energies that are coming, and I know we're going to talk about the nodes, we're going to be going from water, earth into air, fire. We just go straight into air, fire, and we've not cultivated a groundedness or a ritual or a simplification of grassroots level. It's a bit like, that story, the grasshopper and the ant. And the ant is I'm probably quite a bit older than you, Alisha. You might not know.
You just see me.
I'm telling the young people at home. The grasshopper and the ant was the one that would prepare for winter. And the grasshopper was, swanning about, playing its cello, having a nice old time, and out there winging it. And then when winter came, well, that poor grasshopper was struggling, and went to the ant, and the ant, supported the grasshopper. But my point is, preparation is key.
Interesting that you would say that. All day yesterday, I kept hearing this kind of telepathic transmission saying to me, get prepared, get prepared, get prepared, get prepared. And honestly, I was very busy yesterday. I didn't have time to tune in and go, what am I preparing for? So I wonder if that's somehow in relation to that. So
yeah, your tune is picking up on the energies.
So do you feel like this, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is that this sort of the grand fixed cross on the 1st of June that is kind of creating this pressure cooker squeeze for us to then move into July with the node changes? Do you see a correlation between?
I certainly do. And I look at it from an energy, and that's the thing with, you were talking about the way that I do charts. I will always look at the energetics and the frequencies, and I'll always go to the elements and look at, okay, and and that's really a decoding of the planets, of the signs and the houses that they're in and the degrees. It's looking at I've completely just gone, woohoo, lost that thought. That's just gone out the window.
That's all right. Well, let's get back to the energies of this the 1st of June. How do you feel it? Here we go. About to go into practitioner mode. I was like, how do you feel it in your body when you connect with it?
Well, okay, and it's going to be different. It's going to be, again, and I'll reiterate, it's going to be different for everyone individually because, you know, like, and I'll just give this as an example with my sacred birth chart. I don't actually have a lot of fixed signs or those particular signs in my chart. However, transits that I look at impact me in other ways with that experience. So this is where I'm very conscious when I talk about astrology in a public forum to keep people feeling safe. Because we can catastrophize. We've had 2 years of catastrophizing, right? So this is not designed to do that. What this is designed to do is to say to people, kind of batten down the hatches, do what you need to do to care for yourself, come back to the basics, the caring for yourself, which is the simple things, drinking enough water, exercising, feet on the earth, eating right, nourishing thoughts, you know, kind words to yourself primarily, get support if you need it, you know, and know that all these feelings that you're potentially feeling, some people will feel frustration, like, and a stuckness. I've certainly experienced that sense of stuckness. I think we were talking about this earlier as well, like a stuckness, like a frustration, like a fixedness, like things can't budge, things won't move. And you know, there are times in your life when you're like, oh, you know, and that is designed to get us moving and having breakthroughs in areas of our life where we're holding back and we're stuck. Doesn't mean it's going to be a big Hollywood Indiana Jones, you know, whatever moment or moments. Doesn't have to be big and loud. Quite often the fixed signs are not that way inclined. Not necessarily. I mean, the Leo is one of the signs that loves the show, but these can be very intrinsic, deep, old ways of being and doing that you get the opportunity to shift. And it's kind of like, go, you know what, these transits are here, I'm going to let them do their thing. And they will show you, you'll know where you need in your life, whether it's career, family, relationship, identity. You could be all, could be one. You'll know.
Can I run something? I'm taking it in and I'm like trying to marry it and match it with
Go
intuitive.
for sure.
So I've been getting I'm just going to run some background context without going into long-winded stories. But there was a big surge in energy that occurred back in January and a lot of information that came through. I won't go into detail.
Oh, January. Oh, yes. Oh, January.
And basically, speaking very general, it was kind of like there's this big cycle that's been completed. There's kind of an air of celebration, moving into easier times, that kind of narrative. And I'll speak of that, and this is collectively, just generally, but it was like, but first you've got to jump through the hoops. And since then it has been jumping through many hoops, not gonna lie. And it only occurred to me just a few weeks ago that there's this and to tie it in energetically, what I've seen in a lot of people is there is an energetic code that resides within them. So in their whether it be in their heart or their stomach or their, it's different for everyone, just like astrology. It's very individualized, but there's a lot of people that have this thing going on because I've seen it multiple times. And what I've been shown is under duress, stress, and pressure, it's kind of activating this bigger energy, this more expansive energy that resides within them that has been dormant for a very long time, that they haven't fully been able to access as a permanent baseline frequency. But
Oh, I love it.
yeah, but to be able to get, and what I was being was that as we hit into June, a lot of front runners will be like popping off like popcorn, like lighting up, this internal lighting up of this ancient, I'll call it ancient code. I don't want to go into too much detail, but
Oh, it's awesome. I love it.
so when you're talking about this astrology and the 1st of June and how you're describing this pressure and frustration, and that says to me that's like the activator to, yeah, access that greater expression of frequency within, if we're willing to take in the opportunity and the energies that are presented to be able to access that.
I mean, in January, we had all of the Capricorn energy, and we had Pluto doing its last hurrah in Capricorn, and that was a very challenging placement, particularly as the degrees were reaching its pinnacle. And again, they culminated with a manifestation over the last few years. That Capricorn transformation, or Pluto was creating that transformational energy collectively, and so we were seeing, the power grabs. We were seeing this is how it's going to be. We were seeing government, public, legal. You need to learn this lesson. We don't need to go into detail because people will go, yeah, I remember. And so, like you were saying, there was a bit of an ease because there was this, and Pluto was heading towards moving into Aquarius, which is, and every transit has its light and its shadow. Like it's just a different form of energy, right? And that's like what you do. You're feeling all of the different energies and getting these downloads, like, oh, okay. And then these conversations that we have, it's like, right, that's, and that's like when people hear about their charts, those moments, and this is, I just see the grand fixed crosses, I just look at any time in my own life over the last near 50 years when I felt effing frustrated, shift happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm pushed to the precipice. Well, it's like that I'm coming up with all these old little fables today, Alisha. That poem, "Come to the cliff," he said, no, we're afraid. Come to the cliff, he said. No, we're afraid. Come to the cliff. They came, he pushed them, they flew. Right. So this is one of those, I see it as those energies that are providing the impetus for that. And, like we were saying earlier as well, like the nodes shifting into mid-July. And it's interesting too that you were saying about the popping and the front runners, and we had also Jupiter in Aries at that time. It's just kicking into Taurus now, but Jupiter in Aries, we had what does that mean to the viewers? It's about expanding. It's how far can we expand beyond, and Aries is a sign that's all about we are on track, and we are going, and we are going to be brave, and we're going to be confident, and we're going to be sovereign and move forward. And you're talking about the front runners, and that's how I kind of see that. And that's also like that kicking into energy coming in, where we're going to have the nodes moving 18th of July out of Scorpio and Taurus into Aries and Libra.
Can we jump into that? And because that's also been something that I wanted to pick your brains about, just intuitive hits. But before we talk about the change, can we talk about where we've been first of all, maybe a brief explanation about the nodes, And then
Yes.
if you can explain where we've been for almost 18 months with Taurus and Scorpio, just
Sure.
an overview of those energies, and then
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's clear for those that don't know what nodes are. Nodes are not planets. So we've got like the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, etc. They're planets, right? Nodes are not planets. They're intersection points of the sun and the moon. And they are linked in with their orbital path around the Earth. So we've got the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So we've got nodes, and the nodes they're actually called lunar nodes, which means they are linked to the moon. Okay, and the moon in astrology is the planet that is linked in very much with what brings us emotional nourishment. Okay, and I like to think of the nodes. For me, the nodes are quite magical, because having a background in energetic work over the last eons, there's a dance with the nodes that are very special, because to me and my understanding and my sense and feel is it's this midpoint, like I said, between the sun and moon, and it's a dance of energies, and these energies go counterclockwise. And these energies go counterclockwise, which don't freak out to the viewers at home. Retrograde, don't freak out about retrograde. They are traveling counterclockwise in what they call a nodal axis. Is this making sense? Cool. And so the nodal axis is linking in with two signs, because in the zodiac you've got 12 signs, and they have a matching counterpart, right? And they are opposites. So it's like you'll always find an air sign will pair with a fire sign, and an earth sign will always pair with a water sign. And earth and water signs are yin in nature, and the fire air are yang in nature. So if we look at what has happened in the last 18 months, and the nodal transit takes about 18 months to work through, which impacts us collectively and individually. Okay. So we've come from the last 18 months where we've had a Scorpio south node and a Taurus north node. What does that mean? If you take anything away from today's conversation with Alisha and I, the south node is where we've been, and that can be historically, but it can also be past incarnations, right?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it can be the past incarnation of what was going on the planet. It can be the past incarnation of yourself, can be past childhood stuff, past stuff in your life, and the collective that has been unresolved. Where did the ball
ancestral?
Yeah. Where the ball got dropped. Where did the ball get dropped? Where did the mission not get fulfilled? And this is
Ouch. I felt that when you said that.
Yeah, and but and a lot of astrology roads will talk about karma, and I prefer to call it, because there's so much energy around words, and karma can have such a negative connotation. There's so much negative connotation, oh, you're going to be punished, it's your karma, sucked in, that's your karma, and okay, but I prefer to have empowerment around terminology with astrology to give people that sense of safety and empowerment and faith and hope, because we need hope, and faith, and that it is based on not just tiptoe through the tulips and smelling roses, and astrology is based on it is a science and an art. It is a layered modality with a lot of history, ancestry, right? Anyway, I digress. So we've had this last 18 months of a Scorpio South Node. Take a look at what's gone on in the last 18 months globally for a starter. Scorpio is the sign that is all about deep transformation through looking at the shit. Just making it simple, people. Yes, and I use negative terminology, however, but digging the dark, the muck, the stuff that's gone on on a societal level, on a political level, on so many levels. I know you've done some work over the last 12 months. I'm not going to, but you've done a lot of work where there's been a lot of uncovering from my understanding in past conversations we've had, which is part of this scorpionic purification. And you can't clear something unless you see it or you feel it or it's there. It's like something's not able to heal unless there's a consciousness around it. And things can heal, but there can be a more rapid sense of healing. So, and the Scorpio, so we're looking at those abuses of power. We're looking at elite power grabs. We're looking at the few that had the power and the many that didn't. And we've seen a lot of that going down. We've seen and you know what? I have to say, as challenging as the last few years have been, I have sat back with anticipation. I was anticipating and grateful that we were going to be seeing all this muck was going to be coming out, because it means that it can, the boil has burst. So now the healing can happen. Right. And interestingly enough, I'll just throw this into the mix as well. We've had a couple of world leaders with scorpionic themes. So I've been quite fascinated to watch that play out.
I had dawned on me about that. I thought, to be honest, when we entered these nodes, especially like the purification of scorpionic energy, I was like, this is the time that we're going to see all the horrific sexual, crimes, sexual trafficking, children trafficking.
And we had the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. We had the Epstein. I think Me Too happened before the nodes, or was coming to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a whole.
There has been a lot, and
it's been huge.
It has been huge, but there is a part of me that's disappointed because I thought it was going to be like maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. I'm not sure, but I really, that's something that I'm quite passionate about, is to clear all that out, eradicate it, so that the distortion that has been held and around, though, especially the taboo and the trickery and the all the scorpionic things, right?
Yes.
I think that,
and interestingly enough too, we had Queen Elizabeth pass away, who was a Taurus, and Charles is a Scorpio. So there's been all of So there's been all of this stuff, and looking at the journey there. But there's been a journey there for Charles. The purging, the scorpionic, there's been a lot there on that level. So it's all very they all do tie in, but it's also looking at in our own lives, where were the secrets that needed to be uncovered? Where they came up, and depending on where, and for the viewers as well, it depends again. And I keep going back to this individual chart focus, because you can generically go, yes, the nodes and Scorpio and Taurus, and it's done this and it's done that. But if you want a real bird's eye view into how has it actually impacted you, you look at the chart and the transits, and then you interpret and decode, oh, okay, so it's in the theme of it's in that south node sitting in my family, or it's sitting in my career, or it's sitting in my, or on, not in, on, you know, so those are the areas that are going to be released for that particular individual. And again, I keep repeating myself, I know, but I'm really passionate about not making things, yes, there is generic, but you know, be the change you want to see, know where it's hitting you and how you can prepare and equip yourself. Because then, you know, at a particular age, you go through different transits. So there's so many layers and levels to this, right? So anyway, so we saw the north node. So the south node is bringing up, like, the light shines on where the ball was dropped, what wasn't working, where the leak of energy was, you know, and, you know, south node being in Scorpio, very Plutonian, because Scorpio is ruled by the planet Pluto, so very Plutonian themes. Pluto is that, you know, that story about deep transformation, you know, Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, you know, the Plutonian flavor, and Persephone, and, you know, so it's got all those fables and those themes attached to it. But then when we look at the north node, which is the Taurus sit, you're looking at, well, what's the remedy? The ball got dropped in Scorpio. What is the remedy? So what happened in the last couple of years? We got simplified.
Didn't we?
Cut down. Food supply chain, farming, money. You know, it's. I mean, I moved to the bloody country. Like, I simplified it real quick. It's so, you know, it's like, our focus has been, okay, we need to simplify things. We need to have our grounding. We need to know that we have good food supply. We need to know that we are looking after the earth. We need to get with the earth. We need to manage our food supply. We need to manage our, you know, I was talking earlier, we need to manage our neocortex and not go into the here so much. When there's these, oh, banks are collapsing, oh, interest rates are going up. And I'm not saying for a minute that those things don't impact us, or I'm not saying for a moment that they're not valid. What I'm talking about is having a center within yourself, which is what we've been developing in the last 18 months for these next changes to occur. Like, and I said, going back to the beginning, 19th of May, all of the plethora of planets in Taurus. It's like, come on, you know, your worth, your value. What do you value? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of others? What crops have you got to grow? Like, you know, the grassroots. And then we've got this 1st of June, this, you know, this heaving, whoa, it's literally like that woman in transition when birthing. And you see, you know, they do it in movies all the time. I can't do it. I can't push. And they're like, one more push, one more, and the baby's going to be born. That's how I see it. That's how I would describe it. And the body in its optimum environment knows how to heal and knows how to birth. Yes, there's complications, but I'm just saying so it's knowing that you can do this, whatever's happening, you've got this, dig deep. And if this is also about your cultivating dreams and manifestations, and it's that I'm worth this, I deserve this, I've got this, that's all in this as well. That bearing down, ooh. Because then, you know, so they're getting back to the nodes, and then we've got the nodal transit changing from Scorpio Taurus into Aries Libra. Very different energy. Yeah. Scorpio Taurus, yin, inner, dark, creative, personal, private. Aries Libra, fire, air, yang, let's go, let's direct, where are we going, where are we heading? It's a very different energy. And you know, it's going to take a little while to harness that after this. And, you know, there's going to be it's like anything, when we go through a major change, there's a gap. Be kind to yourself during that gap. It's a very different frequency that's collectively hitting. And so, you know, we're moving into Libra South Node. What does that mean? So a Libra South Node, we're going to see things collectively around relating, around fairness, equality. These are the things that are going to come up. Was it fair? Was it equal? Was it balanced? Did I say it because I was being nice? The diplomat, you know, the politician, the lawyer, the fair, the justice, the mercy. We're going to see where that needs to be cleaned up. And I think it's going to be quite a powerful cleanup job, to be honest, because when Libra's on, I know I am a Sun Libra, but what I can tell you about that Sun Libra, to those that don't have Libra in their chart, or, you know, it is the great reckoning around fairness and justice and peace. But at what cost? What was the cost of peace? You know, where in relationship did we not value ourselves enough and base ourselves on the we? You know, you've got to be a strong I in a relationship, which is the evolutionary lesson of the Libra. I creates a strong we. You know, we were talking earlier about there's the codependency, independence, and interdependence. So obviously the ultimate is the interdependence, but we look at, well, where have we been co-y? You know, and you talked earlier about the 2014 nodes, which were 9 years ago in the opposite, where Libra was the North Node and Aries was the South Node. So it's like well, where are we at now with our counterparts, and are we cultivating a strong sense of I in the we? How much are we people pleasing? How much are we cooperating, compromising, negotiating? You know,
Sorry, I just totally.
No, good. Do you want to?
No, just when you said that thing, because obviously that's been my keen interest, is the reversal of what we were at in 2014, 2015, and how it's flipped now. And just as you were saying that, I was getting this image of like Libra being in the south and like the scales of the duality.
Yes.
But knowing that Aries is all about sort of the individual, and it's almost like this merging, because you kind of touched on like counterparts relationships, this merging and then coming into unity. I don't know, sorry, I just want to
no, it's beautiful. Absolutely. And so the remedy, you know, the North Node is that remedy, it's that medicine. It's not something that we're necessarily comfortable with. And, you know, and I mean, if you look at it on a global level as well, where we as beings, you know, have had the government's had too much. Just saying, you know, some schools of thought will say the government's had too much power over the individual, for example, right? So this is where, you know, the energies are going to shift, where we've got more around individual sovereignty. And to me, the most important thing about Aries that I love, that energy, is bravery. Being brave to pioneer new frontiers. You know, the brave one, because Aries, I don't know if you know any Aries in your life, but I love that quality in that Arian energy, is that I've got to do this. I am, and it's a race that they're racing ahead, and they're not necessarily looking to the left or the right or behind them. They're like, I've got to go. Focus and, you know, trailblazers, independence. And, you know, we are seeing systems collapsing, structures, archaic structures collapsing. We're coming in with a whole nother vibration of energy. You know, we're not talking about the Aquarian energy that's coming into Pluto, that's in Pluto, that's coming forward for the next, you know, couple of decades. But we're seeing energies that are complementing the evolution, and we're going to see the light and the shadow, obviously, that evolution. That's how it is. We live in a 3D reality. We see the contrast, you know, the duality, like you were talking about with the Libra scales.
Yeah.
So it is a very exciting time. It will require us to, there'll be a quickening. There will be that quickening. And there'll also be a quickening. Aries is a very impatient sign, which can be great for change, but it can also be hot-headed as well. So this is where, and you know, again, and I know I keep repeating myself and I'm probably sounding incredibly boring, but I'm going to repeat it again. Understanding where these nodes impact your chart is a great way for you to be able to navigate the energies more effectively, if you so choose. Because, you know, someone might have Aries in a couple of planets and this pinpoints them, so it's going to require them to be activated in ways that they may not have been before, or know how, or how to manage the energies. And you know, it's just, yeah, really important. If you're someone that is interested in navigating your life, then it's certainly worth exploring.
Yeah, for sure. I want to go back to, I picked up on a word that you said with the node changes, and you said it's a quickening. And I sat down and I recorded with Dale Holmes just yesterday, talking about the hero's journey, and I asked him a question about where are we at collectively in terms of the hero's journey story. And he said to me, I don't think we're at the quickening yet. And then when you said that word, I was like, whoa.
Dale, bang on. It's coming, mate. And you know that just as much as we all do. Yeah.
Oh, that's,
and of course, because it's, you know, we're moving out of that. And, you know, look at it like the womb. We've had that collective water, earth, elemental vibration for the last few years of preparation. And you know, the air fire is active, it's dynamic, it's masculine in nature, it's directional, it takes charge. And Aries is that, very much that energy.
I wonder if that also ties into what I've kind of noticed is this deep purification that we've gone through this year of masculine, like a more distorted masculine energy within us. Like for me, I've noticed it's been very much about letting, you know, like issues around trying to be in control, mental energy, overthinking, wanting structure. But and then you mentioned the frustration and the sort of the anger and that kind of this disintegrating more of a outdated toxic masculine energy individually, collectively, to set us up for more of this quickening, fast-paced, being more aligned and grounded, perhaps, so that we can move forward. Yeah, I don't know.
And it's like, you know, I mean, you can explain this far better than what I can. You know, the energetic or the structure, and I have no doubt you see this with everyone you work with. The structures are changing. The DNA changes because we've got, you know, things going on with the earth. And again, it's not my field of expertise, but you know, with the emissions, I mean, you send these through a lot with all the emissions and the light and the all that kind of stuff, like that's impacting us to lighten the load, to purify.
Yeah.
So that, because, progress is happening, whether it's like the law of gravity. A vote means nothing. It just exists. It happens. So, it's like it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a really empowering place to be when you're open to the different modalities of energy and how they can be decoded so you can get the best out of your existence. And it's total choice. And the thing I love most about astrology, and I don't know if I've said this, or maybe I already have, but I've always loved the word mercy. Mercy brings me to my knees, because it's have mercy. The universe has mercy in that it gives us choice in every moment. And we have these retrogrades, but retrogrades are such a gift, because they are times of review and reevaluation. And that's what nodes are. And when planets go retrograde, besides their retrograde, it's like, it's a beautiful gift where you get to redo if you so choose. And I just see that as being I have such reverence for life, the universe, the modalities that we experience and we learn about and we share with others, because it just really symbolizes how beautiful energy really is, and that it's really truly there to support us. And it's not a big bad grand fixed cross or and the more we surrender to it, and again, there's not an instruction manual on that.
No, there's not.
But I'm just like, surrender, release.
Beep, beep.
Let it go. And then I had visions of Channing Tatum doing the lip cinching, let it go, let it go. Have you seen that one? When they did those in the States, those lip cinching competitions, and they'd get celebs up and they do like famous, and he got up and he did Elsa, that, let it go, let it go. And he was dressed in a blue dress and a blonde, plaited wig, and anyway, and it was hilarious. But that's whenever I think of let it go, I always think of Channing doing that. So
Oh, I think that's a beautiful reminder, whether it's, astrology or any sort of, it's about remembering that it's all there working with you, supporting you, giving you opportunities to be the best version of yourself. And it's stepping out of, this is happening to me, this is happening for me, and how can I make the most of it? And having that self-inquiry, and look, not gonna lie, we all go into those moments of
it's like when they go, it's happening to you, through you, not to you. And you have those moments, you're like, it's stopped, and then afterwards it's like, yes, that's true. So you've gone through it and you're like, okay, yes, that's so true, thanks so much. It's it's not always easy and great through the process. It's pretty raw and messy and real.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Genine,
amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been divine.
It really has. I've enjoyed every moment. I really enjoy your insights, your analysis, how every astrologer has their own unique flavor, and I truly appreciate yours and what you do in the world and how you support people. So if you want to connect with Genine, I will put all her details in the description box below. You can connect with her there. And before we sign off, any final thoughts or anything that you would like to share to the viewers who, you know,
The word trust
yep.
just came through, and um, sometimes when we don't trust, if we can find a process or even a person we admire or a teaching, if we can trust in something that can activate that trust within, it can activate the frequency of trust. And I don't know why that's coming through. I don't know whoever it is that needs to hear that. I'm really grateful to have been able to share that. And yeah, I think, yeah, it's like, utilize this time to know you're worth it, know you deserve what it is you truly want in your heart, and you can do it. You got it. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Beautiful note to sign off on. So thank you again.
Thank
Jenny.
you.
Thank you,
Been
everyone,
wonderful.
for
Thank you,
watching.
everyone.
And until next time, you know, stay in your heart, stay grounded, and, you know, just ride it out. And we're in for some beautiful times ahead. So big love to everyone, and we'll connect with you
Much
on the
love.
next. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.